Yordan Alvarez has signed, according to Jeff Passett, who calls him a DH, a 6-year, $115 million contract extension. Sources tell ESPN the contract kicks in next season. Biggest contract, Passan's words, ever for a DH, and $26 million a year for the 3 free agent years. Astros, of course, locking up a great hitter. So Yordan Alvarez was about to look at his first year of arbitration. He would have had 3 years of arbitration. Then, of course, after those 3 years of arbitration, Yordan Alvarez would have been eligible to become a free agent. These are the contracts that I love because you sign a young player, Yordan Alvarez, 24 years old. You buy out the arbitration years, which you know are going to be expensive anyways because Yordan Alvarez is a very good player.
Averaged?
Probably, it goes up kind of on an escalator. So I would probably say it starts at maybe 12 to 15, escalates 18, 20, and then probably by that third year, somewhere around $25 million. So you give this is why Yordan Alvarez signs it, because you give him extra money for those 3 years, and then in turn, you get the 3 years of when he would be a free agent. Yordan Alvarez is currently soon to be 25 years old. What is the thing that we talk about a lot? Do not sign players into their mid-30s. So this is a contract. This is much like the Alex Bregman contract, if we're being completely honest, where you buy out the arbitration years, you buy out 3 years of free agency, and Yordan Alvarez cannot enter free agency until he is 31 years old. This, in my opinion, Blankers, a 10 out of 10 for Astros owner or Astros GM James Click.
No question about it, Jeremy. You look at it and you think about all of what could be for this Astros team, and the reason why it's not just about the short term, it's the long term, is because you still have Yordan, you still have Kyle Tucker, you still have basically 4/5 of a starting rotation that is under contract, a team control for the foreseeable future, that are going to be young, inexpensive, and effective because they've shown to do all three of those things so far. So you were in a good place. This makes you in an even better position because now not only is it good for the franchise in locking up one of the 2 key pieces of your future, but it's big because now other free agents and guys that are looking at teams to play for as they get into their free agent years or want to play for a winning team are going to go, well, depending on, regardless of what happens with Altuve and Bregman and guys like that, I'm looking at a team that's still going to have their key pieces in the middle of the lineup, a good starting rotation, and plenty of flexibility, and no state tax in a place where they like to win in Houston. I'm going to look at that too. So it's a win-win-win across the board. This is a great move for Click and for Crane. They should not be done by any means in focusing on this season, but to get this done now for the future is a big move for the Astros.
We also heard the rumors that the Astros were having conversations with Kyle Tucker, because Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez are on the same pace to be free agents, because Tucker's going to be facing arbitration for the first time this offseason as well, and we saw the rumors that the James Click was talking to Tucker about it as well. I would still be having those conversations, but I don't love that it came out and the deal wasn't done. Like the first time we heard James Click and Yordan Alvarez talking contract was he signed a 6-year, $115 million deal. Passett is saying that it's the biggest contract ever for a DH, even though Yordan plays left field a lot. Now that he has signed this contract even more than I normally say, I say this a lot, Yordan Alvarez is such a good offensive player. Now that he has $115 million next to his name beginning next season for the next 6 years, I do not want to see Yordan Alvarez play defense. Do not let him touch a baseball glove. Just give him the bat, let him step into the box, and let him hit Yordans left and right for the next 6 seasons.
So you're just confident
he's Big Papi.
He's just going to stay there. I was going to say he's David Ortiz, the next generation.
Just fill him into the lineup card, cleanup spot, DH spot every single day.
And I'm fine with that. Look, I think the ideal solution when you want to get another bat into the lineup, especially when you got an aging guy like Michael Brantley in left field, is you'd like to clear the DH spot and have him in the field. The most important thing for this Houston Astros team is just everything that he brings to the table. And you look at the Oakland game the other day on an 0-2 pitch to clear the bases with a double because he knows the zone. He can hit for average. He obviously hits with a ton of power. He's one of the top 3 in the league in terms of exit velocity off the barrel. And that's something that the Astros lineup can sorely afford to miss out on for any length of time. So you're right. In terms of the development and possibly playing winter ball and learning first base or working on his defense, I'm totally with you because of the fact that there's a history of problems with the lower body, with the knees, with the legs, and you need him in the lineup, in the middle of your lineup so badly that I'm fine just leaving him at DH and realizing, hey, James Click, this is where he's going to be and solidify that position. Worry about first base and other positions in the outfield with somebody else.
Hey guys, back to the video in just 1 minute. Before that, I want to tell you about Fitz Roofing. Fitz Roofing is dedicated to the loyal people of Houston, Texas. That means if you got a leaky roof or need a full roof replacement on your business or your home, and or you want to get something done around the yard or maybe something around the house, they have the best warranties in the business, the best ratings, and the best service. They're going to take care of you every step of the way. Fitz Roofing, making a difference, one home at a time.
There's two angles I want to look at this Yordan extension from. The first one is there's a certain crowd of Astro fans that with the, George Springer walking, Garrett Cole walking, Carlos Correa walking, Bregman not being the same Bregman, Yuli not being the same Yuli, Jose Altuve, who's now in his 30s, Verlander, who's very old, that they feel like the window is starting to close, right, with where the Houston Astros are. I like this new foundation that they're being able to build. Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker in the middle of the order. Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker in the middle of the order is about as good of a middle of the order you're going to find in all of Major League Baseball. You mentioned the young pitching as well. Framber's 28, but I think you can put him in that conversation, whether it's Luis Garcia, whether it's Javier. We'll see what happens with Hunter Brown. He needs to work on his command a little bit. But I like the new core for the Astros. So where it does look like the window could be closing like on the previous core of the Houston Astros with Bregman, Springer, Altuve, Correa, I really like this new core, and I feel like that window is opening when you look at it from the young players' perspective. I love Yordan, I love Tucker, and I love this young pitching staff as well. So I don't see the Astros window closing anytime soon.
No, that's the beauty of all this. In terms of what it means for the fan base, what it means for the people that, care about this team most outside of the people that work at Minute Maid Park is the fact that you want the run to continue. You want to do everything in your power to be a winner and consistently continue to be one, to basically, prove the rest of the country wrong, show that this is one of the best franchises in baseball. You've got all the pieces to do that. And thankfully, it looks like there's a way to find a meet in the middle in terms of Yordan didn't ask for too much and the Astros didn't offer too little. They found a way to meet in the middle, and like you said, what we've always said that we've heard their philosophy is no long-term deals at massive amounts of money. This kind of is the best meet-in-the-middle resolution. You hope Kyle Tucker's right behind. Yeah. You hope that his agent can be open to it too. You hope that this is a deal that they're willing to do. Give Kyle a little bit more early on so that you can have him longer and for more years. And hopefully then you move on to the next positions and the next areas to focus on.
All right, the other angle I want to look at it from, too, and I thought of another one, James Click, Astros GM, because he took a little bit of egg on his face whenever he didn't sign Carlos Correa, especially to the contract that he signed him for. I was right there on the criticism. I like the short-term deal. I like the opt-outs. I thought that was something they should be looking for. Now, Jeremy Pena has proven James Click to be very right? He's been very accurate in that assessment of letting Correa walk even for the short-term deal, but $35.1 million a year too much whenever you can have Jeremy Pena on the league minimum. That looks like it is working a third of the way into the season. As we evaluate James Click now, after getting Yordan Alvarez signed for the next half a dozen seasons for the Houston Astros, how do we view the Astros GM now?
It better. I'm not going to say, that I'm 100% sold on him. Because as I said, it's how you judge the moves. And I've said even before the year started, when they got the new collective bargaining agreement done and they got all this surplus of money, when he made the decision, which you and I were both on board with, to let Correa walk, it's what are you going to do next? You had to have money earmarked for him regardless. You can't just sit on your laurels and your pocketbook and your checkbook and say, we're good the way we are, because this team's too good not to try and, turn every stone necessary until you figure out you got the best chance to win another World Series title. So I'm waiting between now and the deadline. But this is the first step in the right direction for the future. This is a great move for the future of the Astros. My main concern is for this season. I want to see them do more this season. They don't have that many holes to fill. That means it should be even more of a focus. We said first base is kind of new on the horizon because Pena made you forget about worrying about shortstop. But we know that in terms of position players, we're watching Jake Meyers return and how it affects what they're going to do in center field. We know that as good as the machete is, we got to look at the catcher position. If Yuli continues to struggle, first base. Those are the three areas of the infield and outfield and on the field we're going to look at. For me, it's also the bullpen. And again, the ERA is one thing in May and June, but when you're starting to play good teams every single night in the playoffs, when there is no tomorrows in a lot of cases, I believe the back of the bullpen has to be better.
The old saying is you can never have enough arms, right? Even me, who's more, comfortable with where the bullpen is at than you are. you can never have enough arms, especially when it comes to the postseason, and relief pitching and the bullpen comes into play even more than it does in the regular season. 713-780-ESPN. I really like where James Click is at. I think the decisions we look back at James Click, the Ryan Presley still is one that doesn't really, I don't really love that one as much, but he's still pitching effectively. Even the players that we talk about that are struggling, Yuli Gurriel's contract is done this season. I know people always point to Alex Bregman's struggles as well, but that was actually a deal that Luno did before him, and I still think Alex Bregman, his on-base percentage plays. James Click is pointing in the right direction for me. I like that he's being aggressive this season in terms of trying to sign some of his young players, and I think that he is a shrewd baseball general manager. What say you? What do you think of James Click? What do you think of the 6 years given to Yordan Alvarez? Anybody have anything bad to say about it?